Back in London, there's been zero uptake in many places for these greenest of cars. But this French billionaire says his new hire scheme can finally make us love electric.
Today's electric cars are only for VIP, very happy few, because it's a very expensive car. And our proposal is to offer to all the citizens a cheap formula which is complementary of the public transports.
He's promised 100 of these will be on our streets by this time next year. Like the Boris bike, you find your vehicle online and you're away. It works out about £10 an hour. There's also a monthly subscription of £5 to £10 or an on-the-day fee, which has not yet been revealed. Well, lots of people might like the idea of an electric car, but many are put off by the cost and also the way you're restricted by the battery life. So just how many Londoners will go for this Parisian import?
If you go for an hour's journey on a cab, it costs more than £10, so I think it's economically viable, yeah.
I do know, the whole zip car thing that's in London, and you can get those for about £6 an hour, so if it were a little bit cheaper, I'm sure it'd catch on.
I think that's quite good. It helps the environment as well, so yeah, I think I would go for that.
From this summer, the French investors will take over the running of the charging points London already has and create thousands more. They hope they can succeed where City Hall has stalled. In 2009, the mayor pledged 25,000 charging points in London. The following year, that was dropped to 7,500. Today, just 1,400 have been installed, and latest figures show only 27% were actually being used.
I think the key question we have to ask ourselves is the current Source London system good enough? Well, in my opinion, it is absolutely not. There aren't enough charging points, the technology is second rate, and it's just not serving the needs of the consumer, and that's holding back the development of electric cars on our streets. So this initiative, on paper at least, looks very promising.
So 100 of these may be zooming to London over the next year, but there's still a long road to travel to arrive at Boris Johnson's vision of 100,000 electric cars in the capital. Nick Beak, BBC London News.
Well, stay with us this evening. There's lots more to come before the end of the programme, including ticked off by Ofsted for its teachers looking too scruffy. The Camden school told to smarten up its act. The full extent of gang crime in London has been revealed by Scotland Yard, and it shows that over 6,500 violent offences have been committed by gang members in just 3 years, some by children as young as 13. Well, the figures were released under a Freedom of Information request, with the crimes detailed, including murder, stabbings and kidnapping. Alex Bushell reports.
Brixton in January of this year, and a series of raids against the gas gang, all part of the Met's clampdown on gang-related crime. And now its full impact can be revealed. In all, 6,600 violent crimes were committed by suspected gang members in the last 3 years. They include 24 murders, 28 attempted killings and 170 firearms offences. Among those responsible, 2 13-year-olds and another 24 aged 14.
But as the figures show, there's a lot of continued activity that needs to be done, both with ourselves and with our partners. So at the top end, we're looking to arrest those violent offenders who are a priority to us, and at the lower end, we're trying to divert those individuals that may be thinking about getting involved or are starting to get involved in gang crime.
Once the raids are over, the arrests made, it's up to local youth workers like Ros Spearing to do what they can to keep children out of trouble. Her riding school in Brixton plays its part, but she says much more still needs to be done, and she knows better than any the price we all pay for gang crime.
Since 2007, we've lost 2 of our members who were murdered, and one was 15 and one was 17. A lot of young people who have special needs are targeted by gangs in this area. They wear them down and down and down until eventually they do succumb and they actually join the gangs. So having something, the hobby where you can improve and have a structure really helps.
Her pupils agree and appreciate what this school offers.
It keeps them off the streets and it keeps them entertained when they don't have something to do.
It filled up an empty space in my life.
Others question the Met's figures, based as they are on a scoring system for those vulnerable to be recruited by gangs. They include criminologists.
It's lies, statistics and more lies really. Groups of young people getting involved in disputes and problems becomes a gang. If you live on the same street, go to school or play with a football team with someone who's allegedly in a gang, then you're in a gang. So we've got to be careful about these statistics and figures and not get too carried away with them.
That's a charge the Met denies, saying the figures are compiled by them and partner agencies. And they say it underlines the challenge they continue to face. Alex Bushell, BBC London News.
Police have named the Crossrail construction worker who died after a piece of concrete fell on his head last week. Rene Karcik was a 43-year-old Slovakian national. He was spraying concrete in a tunnel in Holborn in the early hours of Friday morning when the accident happened. 2 teenage girls have been arrested at their school in south-east London after allegedly spraying another pupil in the face with an unknown substance. It happened at the Beaverwood School in Chislehurst yesterday morning. Well, Alice Bandakravi is there for us this evening to tell us more. Alice.
Thanks, Asad. Well, police say they were called to the school at 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon to reports of a pupil being sprayed in the face with what they have called an unknown substance. Now, there's been talk of it being pepper spray, but police have not confirmed that, so at the moment that is pure speculation. We don't know how badly the 14-year-old girl was injured. We do know that she needed medical attention, and police have said that 2 girls aged 13 and 14 were arrested on suspicion of possessing a prohibited weapon. They have been bailed until April.
OK, Alice Bandakravi in Chislehurst, thanks very much for that update. The rapper Professor Green has been charged with drink driving after being arrested in Lewisham in November. The 30-year-old, whose real name is Stephen Manderson, was detained by officers who were called to investigate a suspected robbery, while a further allegation of perverting the course of justice has been dropped. A councillor in Tower Hamlets has apologised after he likened some of his political opponents to Oswald Mosley's 1930s fascist party. The comment was made at a heated meeting which was supposed to be about the council's budget, but ended up leading to more accusations of racism. Here's our political correspondent, Carl Mercer.
Very, very good, very, very cheap, very, very nice, very, very tasty. Have a look, have a look, have a look.
There's not much escaping Nadeem. This is what you call a salesman. And everywhere you looked in Whitechapel Market this afternoon, there was selling going on. For now, it's all about the price of goods.
But in 2 months' time, Tower Hamlets goes to the polls like the rest of London in local borough elections. And history tells us that elections in Tower Hamlets can get, well, just a little bit messy.
This time it seems to have started early, with accusations of racism at a recent budget meeting.
The white elite do not want talented Bengalis to speak. And that is, Madam Speaker, the point I make today.
The Labour Party hinders Bengalis from speaking out, which I second and I agree with.
The bad-tempered meeting got worse.
And despite the current chair of Labour Group, Councillor Jackson, dismissing the people of Tower Hamlets as nothing more than curry people in her email in 2010.
The borough is not about curry. It's about heritage, it's about culture, it's about diversity.
And there was more to follow.
And let me say one thing to you. Oswald Mosley had the black shirts in the 30s. John Biggs has the black cardigans. Thank you very much.
Councillor Chowdhury, that was more than offensive. Can you not shut...
Councillor Chowdhury later apologised for those remarks after it emerged that Councillor Jackson was wearing black because she was in mourning. Anwar Khan, though, says he stands by his remarks.
People want to debate, and I think Labour, because of their might and the numbers they have in council, they want to stifle debate, which is quite unpopular because people have elected you to go and speak.
John Biggs is Labour's candidate to be mayor of Tower Hamlets in May's election. He's standing against the current mayor, Lutfur Rahman, who used to be a Labour Party member. It will be hard fought, possibly bitter, if past history is anything to go by.
The way that you can offer leadership in this borough, regardless of whether you're a Labour or Tory or whatever else, is by working to pull people together, not by throwing allegations of a personal nature and tearing people apart.
Despite that, no one expects this row to be the last before election time. Carl Mercer, BBC London News.
Next, teachers at a school in Camden have been criticised in an Ofsted report for being too scruffy. Staff at the Ackland-Burley Secondary School in Tufnell Park are believed to be among the first teachers in the country to be reprimanded for their choice of clothes after inspectors said their dress, well, is just too casual. Sarah Harris reports.
The Ackland-Burley School in Camden wasn't looking its best today with building work underway. But there was no comment from staff about their latest Ofsted report, which said some teachers there were too casual in their dress, which does not promote high professional standards. Francis Gilbert is a teacher at another London comprehensive school. He doesn't believe the comments are helpful.
I think it's totally unfair. I think that Ofsted should be commenting on the standard of teaching and not the dress code of particular teachers. And in my experience, some of the best teachers are really scruffily dressed. They're creative types.
Ofsted said they wouldn't comment on individual school reports, but in a statement they said they weren't being prescriptive about what teachers should or shouldn't wear, but that from day one they should dress in a way that befits their professional status. At Fortismere School in Haringey, the pupils don't wear uniform, but there's a strict dress code that teachers adhere to as well.
It's appropriate for me to dress in a quite formal way. In fact, I joke with students that this is my school uniform. All they have to wear is their lanyard. That's the only bit of uniform we have for students. But I feel for me, I'm meeting parents and other agency staff, that it's important to be quite smart. I don't wear this when I get home.
Education unions said it was ridiculous that teachers' dress was becoming an issue when assessing their ability.
I don't think the evidence is there to suggest that a business-like dress is what's needed. Schools aren't businesses, so we don't need business-like dress. I think if I saw a primary teacher in a suit and heels, I'd be wondering what exactly she was going to be doing.
The idea behind the school inspectorate's push to promote smarter dress for teachers is to improve discipline and standards. But it seems they've got a long way to go to win over all school staff. Sarah Harris, BBC London News.
Well, you've been getting in touch with us on Facebook and Twitter about what you think teachers should wear. Let me read some of the comments out. Nigel Birmingham has got in touch with us to say, I'm more concerned with their knowledge and enthusiasm of their subject. Obviously not wearing shorts and flip-flops, but smart casual would be OK in my opinion. While Peter Field says teachers should office dress. Smartness helps with discipline and learning. Paul McAdam thinks teachers do have to lead by example. It must be harder to command respect and authority if you dress like you've just blown in from 3 days at Glastonbury Festival. And Katarzyna Charnata believes it doesn't matter what teachers wear. I'm a Polish teacher, and there you can wear what we want. Clothes really don't matter. Knowledge matters. Well, thanks very much for all those comments. We always enjoy hearing from you. Now, still to come before 7. Cyclists are invited to try the Olympic velodrome and BMX track as it opens to the public, to schools and to clubs.
So this is where you open up to me and build trust, is it?
Yeah. We'll also hear from the former prison worker who wrote about his experience at Wandsworth and had a film made. More tributes have been paid today to Bob Crow, the RMT leader who died suddenly yesterday of a massive heart attack. At City Hall, union members and transport bosses spoke of their admiration for Mr Crow, and as a mark of respect, talks over ticket office closures on the Underground have been put on hold. Here's our transport correspondent, Tom Edwards.
Bright sunshine at City Hall, but a sombre mood.
We've always had civil words between us, actually never a crossword on a personal basis between us.
Inside, more tributes to the General Secretary of the RMT union, Bob Crow, who died yesterday.
He spoke at that meeting with characteristic passion and detailed knowledge and understanding on the subject.
And across the river in Parliament, the Deputy Prime Minister also paid tribute.
Whether you agreed with him or not, he was someone always of forthright views, and he always worked tirelessly for what he believed in and the people he represented.
Bob Crow's last strike was called over closing all tube ticket offices. That action led to a review to see if any offices could be saved. Back at City Hall today, that looked possible.
Yes, of course, there will be some changes to our proposal. I would be amazed if we've got everything 100%.
Talks, though, over ticket office closures will be paused as a mark of respect.
What is the likelihood of further industrial action over these matters?
Well, you never know is a simple answer. So I don't know.
It also emerged there might be times when some stations are unstaffed for short periods.
We did receive evidence from the unions that between October and November 2013 there were over 70 incidents at 29 tube stations where stations were operational but had no staff, which I think is rather worrying.
The numbers that you were talking about allude very much to those types of scenarios that occasionally, from time to time, in a massive network of over 270 stations do occasionally emerge. But it's not what we roster the place to be.
And while the future of the tube is put on hold for the moment, the concerns haven't changed. Tom Edwards, BBC London News.
Bosses at Heathrow Airport are issuing an early warning to passengers who will use the new Terminal 2 to expect teething problems when it opens in less than 3 months' time. Travellers have been told that the opening day in June cannot be guaranteed to go perfectly, although they say they have learned lessons from the opening of Terminal 5 a few years ago when thousands of bags went missing. Track, BMX and mountain bikers have a new place to practice and compete from today. And it's no ordinary place. The world-class facilities at the Olympic Velodrome have reopened to cater for cyclists of all abilities, while prices start from less than £5. And our sports news correspondent, Adrian Warner, has been there.
Your turn now to experience the ups and downs of Olympic life. Don't tell the grown-ups, but this has to be the coolest sport going at the Games. Great for youngsters wanting danger in a safe environment, like these London schoolchildren trying out BMX for the first time today.
It was amazing. I mean, this experience is very new to me, so, I haven't had much experience like this before, but doing it now, it's great, and I think I'll definitely take on BMX in the future.
The action here was some of the most spectacular of the Olympics. The course has been made easier for community use, but you still have to respect every bump in the road.
When you're on this kind of terrain, you have to be thinking every single second, the movement, the balance, the speed, the awareness.
Now, if you've done this sport before, it's going to cost you £6 for a session as an adult, £4 as a child. If you're trying it for the first time, a coaching session will cost you £15 as an adult, £12 as a child. And of course you can do the same thing inside the velodrome. A taster session in there will cost £30 an hour for adults. They plan to make money from corporate away days. The banks are a bit steep and scary, but some would say business people are well used to that.
That 45-degree gradient is scary, and I had the opportunity to have a go myself a few weeks ago, and I was daunted to start off with, but within 20 minutes I was flying round on the top of the bank and having such a great time.
And of course the goal of all this is also to produce more Olympic champions.
To have the only place in the world where they have every single cycling discipline in London, I think is amazing. You're going to see a lot more people developing in different sports as well, because for us, we had to go to Manchester and Newport to get on an indoor track, and to now have another one in the country, but down south, I think is great.
That new era begins on April the 5th, when the whole of the Olympic Park will be open permanently. Adrian Warner, BBC London News.
A psychotherapist from North London who wrote a book based on his work with dangerous and violent inmates at Wandsworth Prison is about to see the story released as a film. Startup has already won Jonathan Asser a London Film Festival award, but he's more interested in his film stirring up a debate about violent offenders. Here's our arts correspondent, Brenda O'Manus.
Startup is the powerful story of a young man prematurely transferred from a young offenders institution to adult jail. Rising star Jack O'Connell takes the lead in this film, adapted from the screenplay of first-time scriptwriter Jonathan Asser. The Camden resident has a background in the prison system, having facilitated creative writing workshops at Feltham Young Offenders Institute and as a therapist at Wandsworth Prison.
Have you used the film as a way of criticising the probation office and the prison service, as a way of bringing the issue to debate?
You bet I have. You bet I have, because what the wonderful thing about Startup being made is it's given me a platform where people are interested in talking to me and finding out about my life and what I was doing. So it's given me a superb platform to talk about the way my work was stopped overnight.
Tell you what I do want, Gav. You listening? A helicopter, 2 packs of burn, and some chocolate digestives, please.
It is a wonderful opportunity for me to talk about how prisons can create risk by concentrating these dangerous people. Violence happens, and then all they do is separate and segregate, and the problem the prison has created then passes down the line.
Who's that then?
My mum. Why?
Jack O'Connell, who plays young offender Eric Love, agrees the film highlights problems within prison institutions.
What Jonathan, his real life experience, what he had to endure was battling this system just so he could eventually speak to these people. A conversation. And a lot of the times, you know, that sort of therapy, I guess, can go a lot further than solitary confinement.
He's suffered enormous emotional trauma.
Starred Up is released on the 21st of March. Brenda Imanis, BBC London News.
Now that looks like a very interesting film indeed. Let's take a look at the weather forecast now with Wendy. And it's actually really nice out there. I'm enjoying this weather.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? Don't we deserve it as well? And there's more to come as we go through the next few days. The one addition, though, is that we're going to start having some foggy mornings as we end this week. It will be then followed by some sunny afternoons, though. We'll deal with the fog first of all. It's enough tomorrow for the Met Office to give us a yellow weather warning because in places visibility will be down below 200 metres. That brings a risk of disruption to transport. So into the rush hour tomorrow, I would stay tuned to our radio station, BBC London 94.9, because that will be able to tell you where we've got problems on the roads and indeed maybe at the airports as well through the morning's rush hour. Now, it's simple, really, why it's happening is because we've had a nice warm day and it's all cooling down. So we're going to have cloud at ground level, if you like, developing quite quickly after midnight. There's also some that's going to drift in through the Thames estuary. That's sea fog as well. It's not going to be for everyone, this dense fog, but it won't be very nice to hit that when you're driving through it tomorrow. So go cautiously, leave a bit of extra time if you possibly can. And where the fog doesn't form, where the sky is a bit clearer, well, we will have a touch of frost forming, temperatures very close to freezing. So this is how we start the day tomorrow. There will be some dense fog patches in a few places. I think as we go through the morning, we'll see it lifting up into some cloud, and by lunchtime that will be breaking up and we'll see some sunshine. So through most of tomorrow afternoon, it's really going to be another beautiful day. There will be blue sky, light winds, and temperatures will be picking up pretty quickly after the clearance of that fog. We're looking at highs of between sort of 12 and 14 degrees Celsius. There may just be a few places that stay a little bit foggy towards the Thames estuary, and the spot like Southend might just hang on to it for a little bit longer. It's going to readily reform as we go through the night into Friday, so another foggy start to the day on Friday, and again that will lift into some cloud, and I think we'll still see some breaks in that. Fog not a problem for the weekend for the simple fact that it's going to be more breezy, and that will stir that fog up a little bit, also knock a little bit off the temperature for Saturday, but that's going to pick up nicely. We could be in the high teens again on Sunday in the sunshine.
This is great, Wendy. Thank you for coming. Thanks very much. Now, before we go, a reminder of tonight's main news headlines. And Labour says an EU referendum is unlikely if it's in government, unless there were plans to give more powers to Brussels. Ed Miliband said he believes Britain's future lies at the heart of Europe. The final communication from the crew on board the missing Malaysian Airlines jet with air traffic control has been made public. The authorities say all seemed normal on the flight just minutes before it vanished. The forensics expert has reenacted how Oscar Pistorius broke down the toilet door with a cricket bat after he'd shot his girlfriend. The athlete denies murdering Weaver Steenkamp, saying he thought she was an intruder. Proposals to launch a fleet of electric hire cars across London has been launched. A French company which runs the equivalent scheme in Paris will run the project. And thousands of violent offences carried out by gangs in London have been detailed by police. More than 2,000 were committed last year alone. Well, that's it for now. I hope you can join me again later during the 10 o'clock news on BBC One. But for now, from the BBC London team, hope you have a very good evening. Bye-bye.